Hi guys, welcome back. We're still out of school. Hopefully that won't last too much longer. I'm doing some fill-in work over here at the community college, helping those guys out over here while this situation is going on. I hope you're washing our hands, and we're keeping some good distance between us and other people, and we're listening to the grown-ups. We're all trying to do this, what may seem to be some strange stuff right now, but it's all to keep everybody safe and to make sure everybody stays healthy. And I'm looking forward to getting back to my school at Hot Springs Elementary and seeing all my students and getting back to seeing them and watching them learn some fantastic stuff. I really enjoy doing that and helping them out as much as I possibly can. But in the meantime, while I'm on this bit of a break, I thought I'd give you a quick story if you were interested in one. You are? Excellent. This one is another Brer Rabbit story. Brer Rabbit and the Moon in the Millpond. And we all know that you can't get something for nothing, but everybody wants to. Now, using that idea, Brer Rabbit has decided to play a trick on some of his so-called friends. And let's just read it and see what we got, okay? All right. As the moon and stars glistened in the cloudless sky, Brer Rabbit and Brer Turtle sat on the edge of the mill pond, under the old oak tree. As they chatted, Brer Rabbit noticed the moon's reflection in the clean, still water of the mill pond. "Look at that reflection," he said. "Isn't it wonderful? You'd almost think it was the moon itself. My papa always said if you picked up the moon's reflection and returned it to the sky, you'd find a pot of gold where the reflection had been," said Brer Turtle. Interesting thought. Brer Rabbit looked at the moon's reflection and then up at the sky. "A pity we can still see the moon through the leaves," said Brer Rabbit. "If we couldn't, I think I'd be fool enough to try to catch that reflection." "Oh, I'd love to see that," said Brer Turtle with a grin on his face. Brer Turtle then saw a smile cross the Brer Rabbit's face. He knew that twinkle in the eye. He had seen it before. "I know that look," said Brer Turtle. "What are you planning?" Just a little fun," said Brer Rabbit. "Who are you going to trick?" said Brer Turtle. "Well, I'm not sure yet," said Brer Rabbit. "But would you like to help?" Well, Brer Turtle nodded and Brer Rabbit told him his plan. The next morning, Brer Rabbit woke up early and started putting his plan into action. He gathered together a few branches and rope, then he visited another friend of his, Sister Squirrel. "My dear friend," shouted Brer Rabbit to Sister Squirrel, who was busy hiding nuts for the fall, "how are you this fine day?" "Well, thank you, sir," said Sister Squirrel, brushing the dirt off her paws. "I was wondering if you could help me," said Brer Rabbit. "Brer Turtle and I are sitting under the old oak tree and looking in a gap in the leaves that let the sun shine into our eyes." "I'm sorry to hear that," said Sister Squirrel. "Well, I was hoping you'd be able to put these branches across the top," said Brer Rabbit, holding up the branches he'd collected. "I'd also like to be able to move them out of the way using this rope so later we can see the moon." "Well, I'd be happy to," said Sister Squirrel. "You did save my good friend Sister Goose from that rascal Brer Fox." "Well, you're too kind," said Brer Rabbit, giving Sister Squirrel the branches and the rope. Brer Rabbit watched as she scurried up the tree and quickly put the branches across the gap in the trees. And then she tied the end of the rope around the branches and threw the other end down. "How does that look?" she called down. "Just what we needed," said Brer Rabbit, pulling on the rope and revealing the sky above. "Thank you. I won't forget this." "My pleasure," said Sister Squirrel. "I must go. I've just spotted a couple of lovely crunchy acorns ready for the picking." And with that, she hopped off and was gone. Now, to put the next part of my plan into action, said Brer Rabbit. Now, when Brer Rabbit arrived home, he got out his best pen. Everybody knows I like my ink pens. My students do. And his best paper and wrote 3 invitations. First, he wrote to Brer Bear. My dear Brer Bear, knowing how you love fishing, I was hoping you'd join me for a fishing party this evening at the Millpond. If you're able to join me, I'll be at the pond under the old oak tree. Just as the moon and stars come out, I do hope you can make it. With my fondest wishes, Brer Rabbit. Brer Rabbit can write a good letter. Brer Rabbit folded the piece of paper, propped it into an envelope, and wrote in his best handwriting, to Brer Bear. He then wrote the same to Brer Wolf and Brer Raccoon. Once he'd written all 3 invitations, Brer Rabbit delivered them. Now that evening, Brer Rabbit and Brer Turtle were sitting under the old oak tree, laughing and watching the moon's reflection. As they talked, they heard 3 voices approaching. Here they come, said Brer Rabbit with a twinkle in his eye. I'd better hide, said Brer Turtle with a smile, and he slipped into the water slowly and hid among the reeds just under the oak tree. Just as Brer Turtle disappeared among the reeds, Brer Bear, Brer Wolf, and Brer Raccoon walked around the corner, all wearing their best fishing hats and carrying their best fishing rods. Wonderful, said Brer Rabbit, clapping his paws together. You all made it. You don't know how happy this makes me. As everyone set up their rods, Brer Rabbit asked, Can I offer anyone a black currant squash? Freshly made this morning. Oh, yes, please, came all 3 replies. Oh, so Brer Rabbit opened his whisker basket and poured out 4 glasses of black squash juice. Ugh. As everyone sipped their drink, Brer Bear pointed to the moon's reflection, then up at the sky. Strange, isn't it, that the moon's reflection is in the mill pond, but there is no moon in the sky, he said. His companions looked up at the sky, then back at the surface of the mill pond. Why, I never, said Brer Bear. That's the strangest thing I've ever seen. I was sure I saw the moon shining down tonight, said Brer Wolf. Must have fallen into the mill pond, said Brer Raccoon, who then laughed. You know, raccoons have a weird laugh. I've heard tell it's possible for the moon to get trapped in ponds, said Brer Rabbit. Oh, here comes one of his tales, said Brer Bear with a sigh. No, I remember my papa telling me a story about the moon and some gold, said Brer Wolf. Oh, yes, said Brer Rabbit. Brer Turtle was telling me just the other day how his papa told him that story. He was told if you see the moon trapped in a pond and you catch it, then return it to the sky, it leaves a pot of gold as a thank you. Well, I think I'll have a go at that, said Brer Bear as he cast his rod and aimed at the middle of the moon's reflection. Everyone watched as the hook flew through the air and landed on the very edge of the moon's reflection, which then rippled a little bit. Quickly, said Brer Rabbit, before it gets off your hook, flick it up into the sky. Brer Bear flicked his rod and watched as the line and the hook arched over their heads. Everyone waited for a moment to see if the moon would reappear in the sky, but it didn't. What a shame, said Brer Rabbit. It's still trapped in the pond. Brer Wolf took his turn and says, Let me have a go. Brer Wolf paddled into the water and cast his line. High above them, the line and the hook curved. This time the hook landed a little near the middle of the moon's reflection. Quickly, said Brer Rabbit, before it gets off your hook, flick it up into the sky. Brer Wolf pulled on his rod, reeling in at the same time, and flicked it so it arched over their heads. Everyone held their breath for a moment, but the moon was still trapped in the pond, or so it seemed. What a shame, said Brer Rabbit, shaking his head. "I'm sure I can catch it," said Brer Raccoon. So he had to go too, but not surprisingly, the moon didn't appear back in the sky. You remember why the moon didn't appear? Remember, Sister Squirrel had covered up the gap in the tree limbs above him so you couldn't see it. Brer Rabbit sighed. "What a pity. It would have been nice to get my paws on that pot of gold." "Brer Rabbit, why don't you have a go?" said Brer Bear. "But if you can't catch the moon, how can I?" asked Brer Rabbit. "You're all much better fishermen than I am." Bear Wolf said, "Well, you never know." "Go on, Brer Rabbit, have a go," said Brer Raccoon. So Brer Rabbit picked up his rod and hopped to the edge of the millpond. "If you insist. But if I manage to return the moon to the sky, I'm not getting my paws wet," said Brer Rabbit. "So I'll share the pot of gold with whoever gets it first." Everyone watched as Brer Rabbit cast his line out. They watched as it arched over them, and they watched as the hook landed in the middle of the moon's reflection. Brer Rabbit then flicked the line back up over their heads. Brer Turtle knew it was time to pull on the rope while he was waiting in the reeds in the mill pond. So he pulled with all his might, and the animals gasped in astonishment as the moon suddenly appeared in the sky. "Oh my," said Brer Rabbit, "I did it." "I'll share the pot of gold with you," shouted Brer Bear in his excitement, and he dived right into the mill pond. "No, I'll share it with you," shouted Brer Wolf, also diving into the mill pond. "No, I will," shouted Brer Raccoon, diving in after the other two. And Brer Rabbit and Brer Turtle watched as the three friends spent the rest of the night looking for that pot of gold that really wasn't there. Now, was that kind of mean of Brer Rabbit? Yeah, he tricked them, but he certainly does love to trick people, doesn't he? Well, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Eventually, when you trick a lot of people, it comes back to bite you. So maybe all this trickery that Brer Rabbit does may come back to bite him later. We'll have to see. Well, that's our story. I hope you enjoyed it. I've about run out of break time. So if you want to check out this, if you like this story, there's some more online that you can pick up and watch. And remember, as we're coming through this situation that we're dealing with right now until school starts back, remember to keep your hands washed, wash those hands, and keep some distance between you and the other people when you go to the store. If you go to the store with mom and dad or grandpa or grandmother, listen to what they tell you, because it's really important to follow through and do as we're told right now so we can all stay healthy. And some people are wearing some masks like this one right here. This is one I have, and it's to help keep me healthy. And if you have one, wear it. If you don't, that's okay too. But one of the important things is to keep in mind, don't make fun of people wearing them. We may look funny, but there's a very good reason for doing this. So, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys hopefully real soon. Bye.